Hello and welcome to all viewers of the NBA basketball. I'm Mahdi Baniasadi and today we are diving into the game analysis of an Iranian player currently competing in the Canadian University League. His name is Iman Kheirati, a talented forward from Shiraz, Iran. I actually had the chance to play alongside him in the past. He is an athletic player with a strong frame, impressive vertical, and great court presence. Today, we are analyzing his performance for CBU against HSU. But before we jump into the breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel. And if you are a basketball player and enjoy this style of analysis, feel free to reach out on Instagram. I love to connect. Now, let's get started by looking at Iman's game stats. He played 36 minutes and 34 seconds in this game, primarily as a forward, though he occasionally took over point guard duties as well. He scored 18 points, shooting 9 of 14 from the field. That included 3 three-pointers, 3 mid-range shots, and 3 free throws. He also grabbed 9 rebounds, with 7 defensive and 2 offensive boards. These rebounds were a key factor in his team's success during this matchup. What really stood out, though, were his 7 assists. Many of them directly led to 3-point makes, showing his high IQ basketball and excellent court vision. On the defensive end, he had 1 block, 2 turnovers, and committed 3 personal fouls. He was also fouled twice during drives. A very balanced performance overall. Alright, before we break down his strengths, weakness, and go deeper into technical analysis, let's take a moment to watch his highlight reel from the game. Pay close attention to the final moments. He finishes the game with a powerful slam dunk that really showcases his explosiveness. So sit back, enjoy the highlights, and get ready, because after this, we are going into the real breakdown, play by play. Alright, let's take a closer look at the first highlight. Here we see Iman Kheirati number 23. He is highlighted with a red glow and positioned on the wing. Now watch carefully. As the defense gets confused and two defenders commit to the ball handler, Iman recognizes the gap and immediately makes a sharp off-ball cut toward the basket. This is a textbook example of reading the defense and reacting in real time. He capitalizes on the defensive breakdown and uses the open line to put himself in a scoring position. Now, one of the standout aspects of Iman's performance in this game was his off-ball movement. He made over 15 off-ball cuts during the match. That shows strong awareness and instinct. Cutting is often underrated, but it is one of the most effective tools for creating opportunities. However, it's not always perfect. Later in this video, I'll show you several examples where his cuts were poorly timed or sent him into the traffic. So while cutting is a major strength for him, he still needs to improve his decision making and timing to get the most out of the skill sets. When he does, he can become a dangerous off-ball weapon at the next level. Now, in this next clip, we see Iman again. This time he's positioned in the weak side corner. At first, everything is spaced correctly, but as his teammate begins to drive into the lane, Iman suddenly decided to cut toward the basket. Watch what happens next. His defender follows him into the paint. This creates extra traffic and draws an additional help defender, clogging the lane and taking away a clean driving lane for the ball handler. Instead, if Iman had stayed in the corner and let his defender rotate to help on the drive, he could have been wide open for a spot-up three. This was a missed opportunity for an easy drive and kick situation. This type of plays highlight the importance of spacing discipline in modern basketball, especially when playing in 5-out or 4-out 1-in systems. One mistimed cut can collapse the offense and turn a good position into a broken one. Iman's off-ball movement is usually one of his strengths, but in moments like this, he needs to be more aware of what the team needs, not just where he can go. With better spacing awareness and patience, he can become far more efficient and dangerous, especially as a floor spacer who forces low defensive decisions. Here is another example. This time it's more about spacing discipline and defensive transition awareness. The point guard begins to drive into the lane, and instead of rotating to the top of the key, which is the correct safety spot in this alignment, Iman chooses to cut toward the rim again. This action pulls him out of the team's defensive structure, and right after the possession breaks down, it leads to an easy fast break for opponent. We have already discussed his tendency to cut frequently, but in this case, it's not just about cutting. It's about failing to recognize when to prioritize spacing and when to maintain transition balance. From my perspective, this may come from his intense rebounding instinct. He's so eager to crash the boards that he sometimes forgets to balance the floor. This is an area that can be improved with more game situational awareness. If he starts recognizing when to stay back for defensive safety, especially after risky drives, he can prevent a lot of those run-out opportunities for the opposing team. Now, in this next play, we see a moment where Iman, playing in the forward role, had a clear chance to improve his team's offensive flow just by positioning himself correctly. As a forward, one of the simplest yet most effective habits is maintaining discipline in the corner spot. By doing this, you not only create better spacing, but you also open up lanes for your teammates and put yourself in a prime position for a kick-out shot or a baseline cut. Here, as his teammate starts an aggressive drive to the basket, three defenders collapse into the paint to stop the ball, and Iman, instead of holding his ground in the corner or rotating out to the wing or to the top of the key to fill the safety zone, misses the chance to help his team either with the spacing or a potential secondary action. With better decision making, he could have either made a smart baseline cut behind the defense or move toward the wing or top to both balance the floor and be ready for a catch and shot. These small positioning decisions might seem minor, but they are exactly the kind of habits that separate a role player from a high IQ forward. Once Iman consistently logs into these concepts, his impacts on both ends of the floor will grow significantly. Now, let's shift the focus to Iman's defensive contribution. And one of the most impressive aspects of his defense in this game was how he handled the pick and roll. In this sequence, you'll see the opposing team set a high ball screen using their 5, but Iman reads it well and doesn't panic. He stays low, keeps his stance active, and uses quick footwork to slide around the screen without losing position. That's a critical skill for any forward. Many players get caught or slowed down by strong strings from bigs, but Iman shows great agility and continues to contain the ball handler after the screen. This type of execution is why the coach trusted him to defend at the top of the key, especially against pick-and-roll actions initiated above the arc. By fighting through screens without needing switches or help, he helps keep the defensive structure intact and reduces mismatches. That's a big deal in any defensive scheme. Now, in this play, we get to see one of Iman's strongest assets on display, rebounding hustle. As the shot goes up, watch how he immediately locates his man. He executes a textbook box out, using his hips and lower body to keep the defensive player behind him. This isn't just about jumping, it's about positioning, balance, and anticipation. But what really stands out is his second effort. Even after the first contest for the ball, he stays active, keeps fighting, and ultimately secures positions. This kind of persistence is what you want to see in a forward. It's not flashy, but it's game-changing. And throughout this matchup, Iman repeatedly showed this level of energy and commitment on the glass, especially on the defensive end, which often prevented second chance points and gave his teammate better control of the tempo. Rebounding isn't just about height, it's about mentality, and Iman clearly has that. Here we go again with another situation where spacing discipline could have made a huge difference. As his teammate begins to drive into the paint, Iman once more chooses to cut toward the basket instead of filling the safety spot at the top. Now, we have already talked about this earlier, so let me just explain why this specific moment mattered. If the drive had been shot down, or if the ball handler had to jump stop and pivot out, Iman would have been in perfect position at the top of the key to receive the ball out pass. This would have kept the possession alive and maintained the flow of the offense. Instead, with no safety option available, the ball handler risked either a bad shot or a turnover, both of which could have been avoided with better spacing recognition from Iman. These are small, often unnoticed decisions that determine whether a team runs an efficient system or collapses under defensive pressure. In this next clip, Iman shows his strength as a ball handler and physical attacker. He drives aggressively and uses his body to get deep into the paint. That's the good part. Now, here is where the decision making comes into play. As he penetrates, you can clearly see that two defenders are neutralized. Another is locked onto the wing shooter. So, essentially, it's a 4-on-2 situation for his team. At this point, Iman has at least 3 passing options. Option 1, a wide open teammate inside the paint, number 1, ready to catch and finish. Option 2, another teammate spotted in the corner marked as number 2. Option 3, taking the contested shot himself. He chooses option 3, and while the shot doesn't go in, fortunately his teammate number 1 secures the offensive rebound and converts it for 2 points. Now yes, the team still scored, but that doesn't change the fact that Iman missed a high percentages opportunity to move the ball and create an easier basket. At higher levels of competition, recognizing these moments and trusting teammate with the right read become critical. This is an area where Iman can still grow, learning to balance aggression with court vision and selfless decision making. Here is another spacing related moment. As you can see in the visual, the set starts from the baseline and Iman moves toward the corner as the action begins. Now, once his teammate catches the ball and starts driving into the lane, this is where Iman needs to react. He should have rotated out to the wing area. This movement would have achieved 2 key things. First, it creates better spacing for the drive, pulling his defender out of the help zone. Second, it would have given Iman a chance for an open catch and shot opportunity or even a quick attack closeout if the defender flew at him. But instead, he remains static in the corner, which allows the defense to collapse without consequence and ultimately limits the offensive option of the play. At this level, adapting to your teammates' movement is essential. Spacing isn't a fixed concept, it's dynamic, and it needs to adjust based on the flow of the play. Iman has the tools, Now it's about improving his real-time awareness within structured sets. Here we have a very important situation for any modern forward, reacting to a closeout defender. Iman receives the ball in the corner. His defender is late and starts to close out from a distance. Now, this is the moment where reading the defender's body language becomes critical. As you can clearly see in the image, there is a lot of open space ahead of Iman. He has two high-quality options. He can attack the closeout with a quick first step, take it downhill, and possibly finish with a strong dunk. Or he can rise up for a catch-and-shot three, also a good look. Instead, he hesitates and doesn't capitalize on either option. At this level, those split-second decisions matter. Recognizing a soft or slow closeout and punishing it immediately is something that separates good scorers from elite threes. Iman clearly has the physical tools to execute both options. Now it's about building the instinct to read and react with purpose. And now watch how the play continues to unfold. As Iman holds his spot in the corner, his defender makes a next rotation, leaving him momentarily unguarded to help in the lane. At this point, Iman has a golden opportunity to cut baseline. With proper timing, this cut could result in either a direct scoring opportunity for himself or drawing the weak side defender and creating a drop-off pass to his teammate already positioned under the basket. But again, he misses the window and remains static. Moments like this require quick decision-making and trust in movement without the ball. Recognizing rotational shifts and attacking the space they create is how elite off-ball players stay impactful. Even when they don't have the ball in their hands, Iman has shown flashes of this instinct. But to reach the next level, he'll need to capitalize on these windows more consistently. Now, let's talk about a more subtle but extremely important aspect of the game: handling physical contact and creating separation. In this scene, we see Iman being closely guarded by his defender, and while there is some off-ball movement, he struggles to create clear space between himself and the defender. This lack of separation allows the opponents to stay tight on him, and eventually it leads to a steal opportunity for the defense. To be effective at the next level, forwards must be able to use contact to their advantage. Whether it's by initiating controlled physicality, using their hips and shoulders, or executing quick foot fakes and V-cuts to break free. Iman has shown flashes of this ability in other moments of the game, but overall it's an area that still needs development. Better contact management not only helps in receiving clean passes, but also allows for improved off-ball spacing, isolation creation, and timing-based actions within team systems. If he can master this skill, he's unlocked new layers in his offensive potential. Even though Iman initially struggles with separation from his defender in this play, he quickly makes up for it with one of the biggest strengths, his passing instinct. Let's touch on a small but very important detail that stood out during the game. In several out-of-bounds situations, Iman begins executing the set before the referee hands the ball to the inbounder. Now, this may seem minor, but in high-level basketball, timing is everything. When a player moves too early, it disrupts the choreography of the play. Teammates may not be set, screens may not be in place, and most importantly, it allows the defense to read and adjust before the action officially starts. For Iman, being just a second more patient and reacting to the moment the ball becomes live will make his set execution sharper, more deceptive, and far more effective. This is a simple fix, but one that shows the difference between good fundamentals and great discipline. Let's take a look at the Iman in pick-and-roll ball handling situation. As he comes off the screen, pay close attention to his body positioning and dribble control. He keeps a low center of gravity and uses his frame well to shield the ball. Technically, this is a great setup. He is in a strong position to either pull up for a mid-range jumper, attack the big with a quick change of pace, or even throw a pocket pass depending on how the defense reacts. But here is what stands out. Instead of exploring a scoring opportunity for himself, he chooses not to press the advantage, likely due to his team-first mindset and unselfish nature, which, don't get me wrong, is a valuable trait. However, this is one of those moments where that unselfishness may actually hold him back. If you look at the defender on the 5-man, he is out of position, vulnerable to either a hesitation move or a sudden pull-up mid-range jumper. Instead, Iman picks up his dribble a bit too early and the defense loses its momentum. This habit of stopping his dribble prematurely is something he'll need to address, because at higher level, once you pick it up, defenders' attack help collapses and options disappear. Balancing selfishness with assertiveness in the right moments is what turns good pick-and-roll players into consistent offensive threats. Now let's take a moment to highlight one of Iman's most underrated yet impactful strengths, his defensive activity. In this clip, the play starts with a quick on-ball screen, and Iman communicates and executes a clean switch. This already shows a strong team defensive IQ, but what really makes the difference here is his use of active hands. As soon as the ball handler tries to attack, Iman keeps his arms up and moving, cuts off the passing lane, and forces a live ball turnover, still created purely by effort and timing. This is something he consistently did throughout the game, and it's not easy. Maintaining active hands while staying balanced and in a stance is a skill many players overlook. Iman's anticipation, footwork, and defensive energy make him a valuable asset on this end of the floor, especially when defending guards and wings in switch-heavy systems. Here we have yet another spacing-related sequence. At this point in the positions, Iman should have rotated out to the corner to maintain width and stretch the defense. Instead, he stays too close to the action, which allows his defender to sag off and help in the paint. Had he moved to the corner on time, he would have pulled his defender away and either opened a driving lane or created a clean kick-out opportunity for the three. Again, this highlights the importance of real-time spacing adjustments, something that continues to show up as a pattern in Iman's games. Let's focus on a small but important aspect of Iman's offensive execution, screen setting. In this clip, you will see that Iman is in position to set a screen, but he doesn't fully commit to do it. Either the angle is off or the contact isn't solid, and as a result, his teammate doesn't get the separation needed from the defender. What's more, with a better screen, Iman could have created a chance for himself as well, either by slipping to the basket or propping out for a jumper. Setting a good screen is more than just standing in the way. It's about timing, angle, and commitment to the action. This is one of those little things that doesn't show up in the box score, but can significantly improve a team's offensive efficiently. If Iman sharpens this part of his game, he'll be able to impact positions even without touching the ball and create more opportunities for both himself and his teammates. Here we go again with Iman attacking off the dribble. He makes the strong move into the paint and stops with a good control. But once again, he draws the attention of three defenders simultaneously. At that point, the right play was clear. Either a drop-off pass to his big man under the basket or a kick-out to the open shooter in the corner whose defender had rotated into the help. Instead, he forces an attempt in traffic, and the team misses an opportunity for a much cleaner shot. We have seen similar scenarios earlier in the game, and this again highlights the need for faster decision-making and more consistent read and react execution. Iman does a great job of creating pressure with his drives, but now it's about completing the play with the smartest option, not just the aggressive one. Here is another moment where Iman is involved in a screen action, and once again the screen isn't fully set, lacking both angle and contact. We've already talked about this earlier, and this is a good example of how small execution details can make a big difference. With better timing and firmness, he could have freed up his teammate more effectively, or even created a scoring lane for himself. It's a small adjustment, but it's an important one if he wants to become a reliable pick and screen option at the next level. In this clip, Iman starts off in the help side position. He momentarily drifts too far from his assignment, giving the offensive player a chance to exploit the gap, but this is where his defensive recovery shines through. He quickly reacts, closes the distance with urgency, and once again uses his active hands to contest the drive and disrupt the possession. This is a great example of not giving up on the play. Even after being a step late, he makes up for it with effort, speed, and discipline. These types of hustle play don't always show up in stats, but they absolutely show up in film, and they are part of what makes Iman dependable defensive presence. And now we see the complete opposite of the previous clip. In this moment, Iman does everything right defensively. He stays close to the offensive player, maintains consistent body contact, and uses his positioning to disrupt the alley-oop attempts by the opposing team. This play could have easily ended in a highlight dunk for the offense, but Iman stays locked in, tracks the play the whole way, and ensures that nothing easy happens at the rim. This kind of on-ball awareness combined with physical commitment is what makes him a valuable defender, especially in transition stops and athletic mismatch scenarios. It's not just about contesting shots, it's about reading the play before it happened, and in this case, Iman read it perfectly. Here, Iman makes a great read in a handoff situation. Instead of accepting the screen, he rejects the handoff and taking his defender by surprise. Using his physical strength, he drives toward the rim with control and creates a solid scoring opportunity. This is one of Iman's most impressive defensive sequences. From start to finish, he stays locked in and executes a textbook front on the post, denying the entry pass and disrupting the opponent's setups completely. His timing, positioning, and physical engagement were spot on here, a standout example of effort-based defense that really caught my attention. In this moment, Iman shows great basketball IQ by setting a timely off-ball screen. He forces a defensive switch and creates an advantage for his teammate. This is a high-class movement, the kind of off-ball playmaking you usually see at the NBA. Here, we see one of Iman's best cuts of the game. Despite earlier mistake in cutting, he proves in many moments like this one that is actually a key strength of his. As soon as his defender turned his head toward the ball, Iman recognized the blind spot, cut sharply behind him, and receives a pass from the 5-man for an easy high IQ 2 points. This is a great example of timing, awareness, and decisiveness of the ball. Here, Iman runs a solid pick and roll from the left wing. He uses functional dribbles to bring the ball up and navigates the screen well. But in the next phase, instead of attacking the 5 with a snake dribble or pulling up for a mid-range jumper after hesitation, he opts to drift toward the corner and takes a contested shot despite being in a potential mismatch situation. Technically sound at the start, but a more assertive read could have led to a higher percentage outcome. Once again, Iman moves too early before the set begins, a small detail that disrupts timing and needs correction. Here, Iman initially looks to pass into the post, but as soon as he sees the corner defender rotate into the help side, he adjusts and fires a quick pass to his wide-open teammate on the perimeter. Smart, fast, and instinctive. A great example of advanced play recognition. In this transition play, Iman could have made a better decision by staying in the corner. That would have created a clear driving lane for his teammate. And if his defender helped, Iman would have had an open catch and shot 3. As mentioned earlier, improving his spacing awareness is key to unlocking better team offense. This is the highlight of the game. Iman reads the defense perfectly, times his cut with precision, and explodes to the rim with a powerful dunk. It's moments like this that showcase his athleticism and his ability to finish plays in elite fashion. Pure energy, great timing, and simply beautiful basketball. In the final sequence of the game, Iman makes a great flash cut to receive the ball at the right moment, an excellent off-ball read. But after catching it, he could have made a better follow-up choice, either a quick pass or a dribble attack to the weak side. A great start to the action, but the decision at the end could have been sharper. And that wraps up our detailed breakdown of Iman Kheirati's performance in this matchup. As you have seen throughout the video, we've highlighted both his strengths and areas that need improvement. But let me be very clear. Every piece of constructive criticism here is shared with the intention of helping him grow as a player, not to diminish his talent or effort. Iman has shown great promise in many areas, and one thing that absolutely deserves more attention is his beautiful shooting form and quick release in catch and shot situations. His ability to get set, square up, and let it fly with confidence is definitely one of his offensive strengths. All the details, strengths, weakness, and personalized development suggestions have been shared privately with Iman himself, so he can continue to improve and refine his game with intention and focus. And to all basketball players watching, if you like a professional breakdown like this to take your game to the next level, feel free to reach out and collaborate. I love to work with you, just like I did here. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next breakdown.